You just testified about a description that you observed on November 14th of last year, is that correct?
That is accurate.
You also gave a description, another description, on November 14th, 2009, correct?
I'm not sure I follow.
You wrote a report.
That is accurate.
And that report included not only a written report, but a diagram.
That is accurate.
And that report and that diagram reflected the events that you saw on November 14th of last year, correct?
Yes,
Now, you have been an agent for approximately 10 years.
that is accurate.
Prior to becoming an agent, you went to law school.
That's correct.
And after graduating from law school, you decided that you wanted to be an agent.
That is accurate.
And part of being an agent requires that you get training.
That is true.
And in this case, the training is in Quantico.
That's right.
Lasts about 20 weeks or so.
Yes, sir.
Covers a number of different areas.
That is correct.
Investigation,
That's part.
interrogation,
That is another part.
surveillance,
Correct.
report writing.
Yes,
They even have a course about testifying,
that's true.
correct? And after you graduated from Quantico, you then became an agent.
That's accurate.
And you decided that you wanted to specialize in espionage.
That is true.
Okay? And so you even had more training in that area.
That is accurate.
And then over the last 10 years or so, not only have you received that training, you've received experience,
That's true.
correct? And one of the things that you have learned in your training and your experience is that report writing is extremely important, correct?
Absolutely.
And in fact, the FBI reports are considered, or called 302s, is that right?
That's right.
And you've learned with your training and experience that these 302s should be accurate,
Yes.
they should be thorough,
Yes.
and they should be complete.
As much as possible.
As much as you possibly can, correct?
Good memory jogger, absolutely.
And if you cannot use a report to jog your memory, and you remember something later on,
Yes,
you can write, and in fact, you are required to write a supplemental report.
that is
Is
true.
that correct? And you did not write a supplemental report in regards to this case, in regards to what you observed on November 14th of last year. Is
Not
that
at this
correct?
time, no.
And not this time and not any time?
Not at this
did
time,
you?
I have not, no.
And there is no supplemental report in your file?
No,
There's no supplemental report on your supervisor's desk?
no,
There's no supplemental report in the prosecution's file?
that's true.
There is no supplemental report anywhere?
Not at this time.
And so you did not need to jog your memory in this case. Is that a fair statement?
Okay.
Is it- On, well, as I indicated, part of your report involved a diagram. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I'd like you to take a look at what's been previously admitted as Exhibit 1. That's the diagram of your report,
That is
correct?
true, yes.
And this is a very detailed report. Would you agree with that? A diagram.
Sure,
And in fact, it is your practice to be detailed.
sure,
And that's one of the things that you've learned in your training
yes,
and your experience.
that is true.
And in fact, this report is so detailed, it has a legend at the bottom. Is
It
that
does.
correct? And that legend tells us details, such as where the street lamps were.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Where the phone booth was.
That is accurate.
And in fact, it even lists the conditions or what was going on with the buildings on that day.
That's correct.
You see at the
Yes.
top, abandoned storefront.
Correct.
Next to it, the Cove and Bar Grill,
That's right.
bait shop,
That's correct.
and empty warehouse. Is that correct?
That is accurate.
And then you also see what appears to be two vehicles that are drawn on the report.
That's correct.
One has an O by it,
That's right.
and is that your vehicle?
That is me, yes.
And then you see another vehicle that has an S by it.
Correct.
You've even included the steps that the individual who you saw on November 14th took when they approached the phone booth and when they left the phone booth.
The entrance and exit path of the booth, yes.
Now, you were notified on November 10th from a confidential informant that there was going to be an exchange of microfilm at this phone booth. Is that correct?
That is accurate.
And they told you that it was going to take place over the next 3 days.
That is correct.
And you set up a surveillance as quickly as you could.
Yes,
And there was no activity on November 11th.
that's
correct?
accurate.
Documented in your report.
That's correct.
There was no activity on November 12th,
That's also correct.
and that's also documented in your report.
Yes,
And there was no activity on November 13th until early morning, November 14th. Is
that is correct, yes.
About 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was dark, correct?
That's right.
Now, one of the other things that you've learned in your training is surveillance,
Yes.
correct? And when you are surveilling, it is just as important not to be seen as it is to be seen, correct?
Yes,
And that is the reason why you park your vehicle south of the phone booth,
that's
correct?
accurate, yes.
And when you parked your vehicle south of the phone booth, you were facing south as well, correct?
Yes.
And so the only opportunity that you had to see anyone approaching that phone booth would be if you got up and turned your head, or if you looked through a mirror.
Well, I can simply turn my head without having to get up, but yes,
But you would agree that you want to see as much as you can,
absolutely.
and you were able to see as what you wanted to see.
Yes, I
You
can
had
see.
a full view of the phone booth.
I did indeed.
And if you were not comfortable with that view, you would have adjusted your position so you
Yes.
could see the phone booth.
That is accurate.
So when you were parked in that vehicle, you saw everything that you needed to see.
Absolutely.
Now, you testified on direct that you got out of the car at some point and walked north towards the phone booth, correct?
On the adjacent side of the street.
There's no steps on this report that reflects your movement, is there?
No, there aren't.
You gave a fairly detailed description of the individual that you claim that you saw on November 14th. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Now, in your report, your description is of a woman,
that's accurate.
does not describe race,
No,
5'4",
correct.
110 pounds,
Yes,
wearing a trench coat.
that is accurate.
And your report was accurate, correct?
Yes,
And that's what you wrote in your report?
That's
Because
right.
that's what you saw on
Yes.
November 14th.